Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. Melody Cherie versus Martell Holt. When you realized the enemy was someone you loved and trusted. Full disclosure, I know Martell is now a vile, despicable, sinister man-child that many in the public have grown to be disgusted by. But at one point he was something else. He was someone Melody loved. Actually, I think he was probably always this creature. It was just hidden and hadn't been activated yet, but it was always there, lurking. In any case, this cretin of today used to be someone Melody loved and shared a life with. He used to be someone she confided her dreams in, someone she built a life with. He was someone she comforted in tough times and was comforted by. She didn't know then, but likely know all too well now, that he was going to become the person that would hurt her the most. Many of us have been there, maybe not with a husband, but maybe a best friend, or a parent, or a sibling, or a trusted confidant. I know Martell's antics have helped Melody tremendously in getting over him. After all, how could one still have warm and loving feelings towards someone who continues to try to defame, demean, and destroy them, using anything and anyone at their disposal to do so? So without Martell even realizing it, he has been exactly what Melody needed to help her get over him. Martell's continued egregious behavior has been just what the heavenly doctor ordered to help her break the soul tie she once shared with that walking grease stain. But I also know something else. I know that Melody couldn't have shared a life with someone for as long as she did and not be damaged and scarred by the betrayal. I know that the repercussions of that pain won't be so easily diminished. As I said, many have been there before. In Melody's journey to healing, true healing, total healing, this is truly just the beginning. I have a message for Melody and for all those who have dealt with the betrayal, the hurt, the pain, and the devastation of being close to, loving, and trusting someone that you did not know was actually an enemy. Someone who you thought was for you and they were not. Finding out they hurt you, betrayed you, or were never for you is just the beginning. But then something else happens. When the cat is out of the bag on who they are, and oftentimes you won't have seen it right away because they were close to you and you trusted them. But when you do see it, the next steps involve trying to make sense of it all. The who, what, when, where, why, and how of the betrayal. Trying to make sense of the who in terms of who you can ever trust again, if they, being so close, were able to do you as wrong as they did. Trying to make sense of the what in terms of what made them change up on you, what made them treat you the way they treated you. Trying to make sense of the when in terms of when did things change, when did they, the betrayer, change, and when did the betrayal start. Trying to make sense of the where in terms of where did it all go wrong, when did the truth end and the lies start. Trying to make sense of the why in terms of why they did it, why they betrayed you, hurt you, tried to break or destroy you. Trying to make sense of the how in terms of how long their hate for you existed while they were still smiling in your face and pretending. And even more devastating, trying to make sense of the how in terms of how you let this happen, how they managed to hide themselves from you, and how you will ever be able to trust anyone again. To you and to all others who are dealing with this hurt, betrayal, and all of its repercussions, here is what I will say. The pain is going to cut deep, and it's going to take you a while to see what you will later think you should have seen all along. It's not that you're naive. I mean, maybe you are a little bit, but mostly I think it's because you really loved and trusted that person, your eventual deceiver, and you thought they loved you the same. You mistakenly thought they would reciprocate the love you had and would treat you the same. You knew that because you loved them so and would do anything for them, that they would feel and do the same. As you probably know now, you were wrong, did wrong. Not only didn't they love you the same, if at all, they secretly didn't even like you, and you had no idea. The betrayal has left you stunned. You are now unsure and doubtful. You question their actions. How could they do this? I'd never do this to them. How could they treat me this way? I'd never treat them that way. You question yourself. All of it is hard, but this part is especially hard for you because you're hard on yourself. You wonder why you didn't see then what is so obvious now. Why didn't you pay attention, you wonder? How could you be so stupid? How long were they hurting you, sabotaging you, talking about you behind your back before you finally got smart? How can you ever trust anyone again? And here's the pervasive stinger. You wonder, how can you trust yourself again since you let someone like them into your life in the first place? This part will linger. I'm sorry to tell you, but this part will cause some internal damage because out of necessity, you will harden. Under the guise of not being fooled again, you will turn colder towards others, expecting that they might hurt you too. You'll reason that even if they don't hurt you like your deceiver did, they could, and the simple fact that they could will be enough for you to put up your walls. Sadly, out of necessity and an innate sense of self-preservation, almost everyone will now get some form of wall from you. Those that love you will understand. Those that don't will leave you, and you will internalize their flight as proof that you are somehow responsible for the type of people around you. You are responsible for the deceiver and the leaver. The pain, the questions, the doubt, the uncertainty, and insecurity will come in waves with little to no forewarning for what's coming next. Just know it's coming, and more importantly, know that you will get through it and emerge victorious, sharper, more astute, more confident on the other side. The lesson will be hard learned and hard won, but will serve you well in the end and prepare you for whatever comes next. You will now know your strength. You will know your own voice and won't be afraid to walk away when necessary. You will realize you needed this to become the best version of yourself. And you'll even be a bit thankful that your deceiver was revealed when they were. Even though the timing of their hurt will seem terribly inconvenient, you will realize that it needed to happen when it did. After all, what might have happened if you'd taken your deceiver farther along on your journey? What more might they have tried to ruin, sabotage, or steal when you had access to more? You will realize it is good that you dropped them off when you did, before things really got good in your life. Because if they're mad now and you haven't even touched the tip of the beginning of your success, just imagine how much more upset they'd be when they see where you're going. When you look at it that way, you're actually grateful for them. You say a little prayer, thanking God for the lesson that was them. Then you hightail it out of there so they never have access to you again. Melody is not the first person to be deceived by someone she loved and whom she thought loved her too. Unfortunately, she can now speak with experience about just how disconcerting it is when you realize the enemy was someone close to you, someone you loved and trusted. Maya's story is similar, though her deceiver wasn't her husband. Still, it was someone close to her, and the pain was just as devastating. Let me tell you the story of Maya. Maya grew up believing that family was everything because, for her, family was everything. She and her two siblings were close growing up, but as is often the case, she and her siblings' lives took different paths, and the result would mark the end of the family unit they'd once been. Maya had always been academically inclined. She was the middle child, sandwiched between an older sister who couldn't care less about school and a younger sister who felt the same but for different reasons. Maya's older sister hated school. Her older sister's passion was and had always been boys. Not surprisingly, Maya's older sister became a two-time teen mom, and although she did graduate from high school and did enroll in college, she dropped out after her first semester. She had a few stints in and out of jail and had 7 children by 3 different men, but eventually she got her act together. Well, mostly. She now works as a manual laborer, but she always keeps a little grift going on the side. Maya's younger sister was neither academically inclined like Maya, nor boy crazy like the eldest sister. She was an average student, and in fact, was average at most things. But she tried to do and be more by copying everything Maya did. Because Maya saw the road her eldest sister had taken, how she had lessened her opportunities for success by throwing away her education and choosing instead to focus on boys, Maya didn't mind her sister shadowing her every move. Maya did everything she could to model success and be an example for her younger sister, and her younger sister did everything she could to follow in Maya's footsteps. She never quite measured up or reached Maya's level of success at the things Maya did, but she continued to try and always used Maya as the goal, as being like Maya was what she aspired to. Maya's parents had been high school sweethearts. When Maya's dad cheated on their mom, her parents divorced, and things changed for their family. It was actually at this time that Maya's older sister started becoming riskier with her behavior. She had always been boy crazy, but after their parents split and her dad moved out of the home, she really began to lose control. She started partying and hanging out all times of the night with friends, something she would have been afraid to do when their dad was in the house. She became pregnant with her first child while a teenager in high school. When that child was born, 4 months later, she became pregnant again by a different guy. She graduated high school with 2 children who were 1 year and 1 month apart. Soon after Maya's parents split, Maya's mom began dating a man by the name of Mark. About 2 months after they began dating, Maya's mom moved Mark into their home. Maya and her sisters never liked Mark. It had nothing to do with Mark per se, but had everything to do with the fact that they had just witnessed their parents split and weren't ready to see either of their parents move on. But both of their parents had. Maya's dad began dating and then eventually moved in with the woman he had been cheating on Maya's mom with, and Maya's mom moved on with Mark. Maya's relationship with her mom changed after her parents split, and having Mark in the picture didn't help. Maya's mom had let Mark rule the house, and Maya didn't like that. For one, she didn't really know Mark. She had only known him for 2 months before he moved in and started trying to exert control over Maya and her sisters. And much to Maya's shock, having seen her mom be so strong and confident before, she had let Mark come in and take control. But Maya also didn't like Mark trying to rule the house because, as a headstrong person, she often spoke up about things she felt weren't right or weren't fair. One day, as Maya was walking out to the car with her mom and Mark, when they were about to drop her off to school, Mark began yelling about something, as he often did. They were in the front of their house, standing in front of their car, when Maya turned to Mark and told him that he was not her father and should not be speaking to her that way. Mark then grabbed Maya by the arm, slammed her on the hood of the car, and began trying to take his belt out of his pants, like he was going to hit her with it. Maya scurried across the hood of the car and away from Mark. With tears in her eyes and shaking like a leaf, Maya looked back at her mom, expecting her mom would be furious at the sight she'd just seen. But Maya's mom did nothing. She just stood there in silence and watched as her boyfriend had slammed her 12-year-old daughter on the hood of the car and tried to beat her with his belt out in broad daylight in front of their home on a Monday morning on the way to school. When Maya got to school, she went straight to the principal's office and quickly called her dad, who rushed right over to pick Maya up from school. They went straight to the police office and Child Protective Services to file a report. Maya and her siblings then moved in with their dad and did not speak to their mom for a couple years after that. After some time had passed, Maya eventually began to talk to her mom again, but the relationship was never close. It was never the same. Maya continued to butt heads with her mom all throughout high school, but when she went away to college, things seemed to get better. She and her mom got closer, now that there was distance between them, and she started to feel like they were actually beginning to have a mother-daughter relationship. When Maya's mom got in a really bad car accident, Maya had dropped out of college to help take care of her and nurse her back to health. She was out of school for a year, even walking away from an academic scholarship, and she did not return back to college until her mom was well enough to function again. When she did return back to college, even though she'd taken the year off, she still finished in 4 years and with honors. Her mom had seemed proud of her, and things were looking good and going well in Maya and her mom's relationship. Fast forward a few years. After Maya graduated college, she got a job, and although she wasn't making much, she still did what she could to help her mom out. Whenever she'd get a bonus from work, for example, she would send her mom some money from her bonus. Maya soon met a man, and although he was the love of her life, she said no every time he asked her to marry him. She had seen her dad go from loving her mom like crazy, buying her expensive gifts, and taking her on trips, to cheating on her like she was nothing. And she had seen her mom go from being head over heels in love with her dad to hating his guts. So she wanted nothing to do with marriage. But she was happy with her relationship, and even happier when she and her boyfriend found out they were expecting. He asked her again to marry him, and again she said no. But he was who she was planning to spend the rest of her life with. She just didn't want a commitment because she'd found she did not believe in commitment anymore. Up until the time Maya got pregnant with her child, she had been sending her mom money. But when she became pregnant with her child, she had stopped. She wasn't making very much money to begin with, and she realized she would need the money to help raise her child. Prior to her getting pregnant, the only experience she'd ever had with children was her older sister's kids. And although by now her older sister was up to 5 children, Maya had not known how expensive children were because she herself was not a parent. The most she'd done was buy birthday and Christmas presents for her nieces and nephews. But now that she was becoming a parent, she was seeing how expensive things were, and she realized she needed the money from her bonuses and any other money she could get her hands on so she and her boyfriend could provide a home and a life for their upcoming child. Maya's mom did not take kindly to Maya cutting off the money she had been sending. To be clear, it wasn't that Maya's mom was dependent on the money. Not at all. Maya's mom had worked as a high school teacher for 30 years and had retired with full pension and benefits. So any money Maya had been sending to her mom was money she could use, of course, but not money that she necessarily needed to live on, which is why Maya thought it would be okay to stop sending her mom the little gifts of cash. But it apparently wasn't. And Maya soon found out how unhappy her mom was when her mom began to make little snide remarks about the absence of the money. Still, there was nothing Maya could do, since she needed the money. So she decided to ignore the remarks, figuring her mom would understand once she met her grandchild. When Maya's daughter was born, it was the happiest moment of her life. She loved every moment of being a mom, and when it was time for her to go back to work, after her maternity leave, she cried for days. The only thing that gave her any comfort was knowing that her daughter would be safe because Maya's mom would be watching her while Maya was at work. Maya's peace about returning to work, knowing her daughter would be safe with her mom, didn't last long, however, when Maya realized her mom's help was sporadic at best. Some days Maya's mom would show up late to watch her daughter, making Maya late to work, and some days she would not show up at all, leaving Maya scrambling to find someone to watch her daughter, and because there was no one, often having to have her boyfriend bring their daughter to work with him, or some days he wasn't able to go into work at all. And even with the sporadic help, Maya's mom still expected Maya to pay her for every day that she did show up, and for any expenses she incurred while she was out with Maya's child, her granddaughter. For example, if she went out to lunch while she was babysitting Maya's daughter, her granddaughter, she would give Maya the bill for that lunch. With the sporadic and costly coverage to watch her daughter, Maya realized she couldn't continue on that way, and she left the work field altogether, realizing whatever money she made would go back right out the door. So she and her boyfriend, who at that time had become her husband when she finally said yes to one of his proposals, had decided that she would just stay at home with their daughter. Maya, being an overachiever, then started a business. She figured this would give her an opportunity to be an available mom to her child, but also make money for her home. Maya's business became very successful, and between her husband's raises and her business success, they were able to afford to buy a home. Maya's mom would always ask to visit, but Maya was always working, so she wasn't able to plan anything. And she had wanted there to be a plan so that when her mom was visiting, she could take her different places and show her different things. But one day, her mom got tired of waiting and decided to catch a flight and to show up at Maya's door. Maya was shocked to see her mom standing there, and a bit taken aback, knowing she would need to rework her schedule to accommodate her mom visiting. Still, she did what she could to make sure her mom had a great visit. While visiting her, Maya's mom noticed that Maya had a lot of fruit trees in her backyard. And after her visit to Maya, Maya's mom went home and began to plant fruit trees of her own. But they never quite took off like Maya's fruit trees. So when Maya's mom visited her the next time, she made comments about how bitter the oranges were and how long it was taking the apple trees to grow. But Maya didn't think anything of the comment and just continued on enjoying her fruit trees. Soon Maya found herself expecting her second child. When it came time to deliver her child, and Maya expressed to her mom that she would like to have her there, Maya's mom told Maya that if she wanted her there, she would need to pay for her flight to get there. So Maya did. And after Maya's mom left, having stayed for 2 weeks to help Maya with her newborn, Maya sent her a beautiful and expensive gift as a thank you. By then, Maya's husband had accepted a new position that had moved them closer to the state Maya's mom lived in. It wasn't the same state, but it was a drive away. After Maya sent her mom that expensive gift after she came and stayed for 2 weeks, Maya's mom would volunteer to come by and help out with the kids. But whether she was there for 30 minutes or for 4 hours, because it was never longer than that, she would send Maya an Amazon wish list of different things she wanted Maya to buy for her as a thank you for watching the kids. One day, Maya's mom called her up and told Maya she noticed how hard she'd been working and that she deserved to have a break. Maya's mom offered to watch her 2 daughters for a weekend for Maya and her husband to have a romantic getaway. And Maya was ecstatic. Knowing that there was always a cost associated with her mom's help, Maya showed up with a car full of groceries to put in her home, as well as a separate set of groceries to include different snacks and foods her children would like. In addition to that, and in case they went anywhere, Maya also gave her mom a few $100s. Then she and her husband set out for their romantic weekend. One day into the romantic weekend, Maya's mom called her and told her that she had not realized that the weekend was a holiday weekend, so Maya would need to come and pick up the children because Maya's mom was making plans to go visit her brother's house, Maya's uncle. Maya didn't understand how her mom had not known it was a holiday weekend. She also hadn't understood why her mom couldn't take the children with her to her brother's house, since the children were his nieces and were his family too. But Maya didn't say anything. It was fine with her, because she had missed her children anyway. It would have been her first time away from them, so she was anxious and excited to get back to them anyway. So Maya and her husband canceled the rest of their romantic getaway and began the long drive back to her mom's house to pick up her daughters. Maya's mom never returned the groceries or the money that she had dropped off along with her daughters, basically as payment for watching them. It was a whole week or 2 later before Maya realized that her mom had not even given her back her kids as snacks, which would have been enough to cover them for a week, let alone the 2 nights and 3 days they were supposed to stay, yet only wound up staying overnight. Still, because Maya was happy to see her kids, and because she wasn't quite putting 2 and 2 together yet as it concerned her mom, she said nothing. With the success of her business, Maya and her husband soon bought a second home. And because they still loved and had a great deal on the first one, they decided to keep it and just rent it out. When Maya's mom found out that she had a second house and was renting out the first, Maya's mom went and bought a second house too, that she could also rent out. When Maya moved to her second house, which was farther away, knowing her mom had a propensity for just dropping by unannounced, this time around, Maya did not tell her mom her address when she moved. But she did send her beautiful pictures of her backyard with its snow-capped mountains and flowing streams. She sent her mom pictures showing her daughters fishing in the streams and of the sunset right over the water. A few months later, Maya's mom called her and announced that she and Maya's younger sister had bought a house together. Maya was so excited for them. She had known that her little sister had struggled to come into her own. Her little sister had tried to major in the same thing Maya had majored in, but had struggled to finish school before ultimately dropping out. Then her little sister had struggled to keep a job, often finding herself fired because of her attitude. So she was happy to see that her mom and her sister were going in together on a home, and offered them a rich congratulations. When Maya's sister found out that Maya's mom had told Maya that they had bought the house together, Maya's sister was furious. She had not wanted Maya to know that they'd bought the house together, just that they'd be living together. But Maya's mom, who was always trying to compete with her, had spilled the beans because she'd wanted Maya to know that she'd been involved too. Maya's sister called Maya furious, yelling and screaming that Maya's mom was not helping her to buy the house, but was just moving in and helping her to pay the bills. And Maya's mom, not wanting to incur her younger daughter's wrath, the daughter whom was her favorite, also backtracked and told Maya that she was not helping to buy the house, but was just moving in. Maya did not know why they were telling her all this. She did not understand why it was important. And really, she did not care. She did not care if they were buying the house together or separately. She was just happy for her younger sister that she was finally on her feet and buying her first home. She told her younger sister as much and urged her not to be upset with their mom. She told her younger sister that her mom had told her the news because she was just excited. Then Maya made plans to visit them sometime soon. When Maya visited her mom and sister, they initially played a trick on her by taking her to the fixer-upper her mom had bought a few years ago and trying to make her think that was the house they had bought. Maya didn't think it was the house they had bought, but she played along just in case it was, and because Maya's mom had told her to be supportive of her sister's house, having warned her that it was her first house and so might not be at its best yet. So Maya played along, pointing out that the house was in an up-and-coming neighborhood and that it had a good-sized yard and any other positive things she could think of to say. Maya was shocked when, as they were leaving, they drove up to another house and got out. Maya was shocked because this other house had almost exactly the same backyard and background of her own home. In the backyard and background of the house were snow-capped mountains and the same stream. It was as if Maya's mom and her little sister had photoshopped their house right into Maya's yard. That's when Maya realized. That's when it all hit home. Maya realized that the reason they had shown her the older house before was to distract her from the fact that they had sought to copy the house she'd bought. They had planned on her being so thrown off by the practical joke they were playing on her that she wouldn't notice or at least wouldn't say anything when she saw what they had done. And they were right to an extent, because Maya did not say anything, but she definitely noticed. Over the following weeks, with some distance away from her mom and younger sister, Maya noticed that her mom had always been trying to compete with her when she did well, and put her down when she didn't. But then, when her mom had not been able to compete with her on her own, her mom had enlisted her younger sister, who had always looked up to Maya and tried to be like her and do the things she did. Maya didn't even think her younger sister noticed how she was being used. It had taken Maya so long to get the insight into who her mom was and how her mom behaved that it wasn't surprising that it would take her younger sister time to see it too, especially since her mom and younger sister were always together, and now they even lived together, despite her mom being young at heart, healthy and capable of living on her own. Maya's mom and her younger sister's relationship was super enmeshed. Their relationship had strengthened after Maya's mom had managed to make Maya's younger sister hate their father after their parents divorced. She had tried it with Maya and their oldest sister too, talking about him like a dog whenever she could, especially to them, refusing to let him come around for their celebratory events. But Maya and her elder sister had resisted. Maya's elder sister was just like him in many ways, particularly in terms of being irresponsible, so she wasn't upset that he had cheated and broken up her family at all. And although Maya was upset that her dad had cheated and broken up their family, she wasn't willing to let their mom make her hate him or exclude him from their lives. But Maya's younger sister had taken the bait and had hated their father with the same level of hate that their mom had expressed. So that had made them incredibly close, as Maya's younger sister always did what their mom told her to. So, knowing their closeness and the similarity of their personalities, needless to say, Maya was prepared for her sister to be in denial about their mom. What she was not prepared for was her sister getting angry with her and telling her that she was just upset that she had finally been able to buy a house too. Maya tried to talk to her sister and tell her that she had been happy for her, as always, but that her sister didn't understand that their mom had never been supportive of Maya, and as she got older had resorted to trying to compete with and even one-up her, and having decided she couldn't compete alone, was now using Maya's younger sister to help her in her competition. But Maya's younger sister didn't see that, and she didn't want to talk. She accused Maya of not being happy for her, and in fact only being happy when she thought she had bought the fixer-upper. Maya tried to explain to her younger sister, because by then she knew her mom was a lost cause, that she was not only very happy for her, but that she had tried all her life to help her younger sister with the tools she'd need to succeed. Everything from trying to help her finish school to trying to help her find a job, and ultimately helping her land the latest job she had. Maya reminded her sister that she had always been there for her, but by then it was too late. Maya realized that her sister had long ago been brainwashed by their mom. Her mom had taken advantage of the fact that Maya's younger sister had always looked up to Maya and had always tried to emulate her. And Maya's mom had used that to turn Maya's younger sister's obvious admiration for her into a tool used to compete with her. Since Maya's mom felt she couldn't compete alone, she used Maya's younger sister to help her compete with Maya, or at least tried to. Maya realized in that moment it was too late for her to get through to her sister. So she walked away, but the damage was done. It had taken Maya so long to see her mom for who she was that she was left reeling when she finally did. She wondered how long her mom had been trying to compete with her for. She wondered if the reason her mom had let her boyfriend abuse her was because her mom had hated her, even way back when she was a child. She wondered if, during those years when she thought she and her mom were close, if it had been because she had been giving her mom money. She was pretty certain she now knew the answer to that, especially since after she stopped giving her money, things went back to being bad again. Maya wondered if her mom had ever loved her, and if she had, she wondered when she had stopped. Maya's younger sister had so much venom towards her that Maya was certain that her mom had begun poisoning her sister against her many, many years ago, as that level of venom surely didn't occur overnight. Maya felt sick thinking about how she'd been sharing her successes with her mom and younger sister, not realizing that those successes had been like salt in their wounds. It had been one more thing to make them not like her and not want to see her succeed. Maya recalled when she'd first begun sending her mom pictures of the snow-capped mountains and the streams, how her mom had talked about how much she hated the snow and how those streams would surely bring snakes, and she hated those too. At the time, Maya had thought that her mom's comments were negative, sure, but she had not realized that they were bred from feelings of jealousy, envy, and competition directed at her from her own mom, the woman who had made her. And Maya had felt even sicker when she had come to realize that her younger sister's similar feelings had also been festering from at least around that time, too. Maya recalled having sent her younger sister some pictures of the sun setting over the stream, several pictures, in fact, so that her sister could see the different colors of the sunset on the different days, and how her sister had accused her of photoshopping the pictures. At the time, Maya had just laughed, taking the comment as a joke. But now, knowing what she knew about her mom and seeing the way her sister was reacting to her, she now knew that her sister wasn't joking. She was trying to downplay and dampen Maya's success. Maya had thought that when she was sending the pictures, she was sharing happiness and joy with her mom and sister. She hadn't realized that them seeing her do well had induced feelings of envy and negativity toward her from her mom and sister. Maya was devastated. All of those feelings, thoughts, wonders, and worry came tumbling out all at once. Maya had been in the dark for so long, but when she saw the light, courtesy of the final time her mom had tried to copy her and had enlisted her little sister to help, but also while copying her for years, had simultaneously been downplaying and diminishing her success, she really saw the light. And now she couldn't unsee the things that had transpired. All the ways in which her mom had been showing her for years that she was not for her, that she was not in support of her, that she did not love or care about her, but only even entertained her when there was something she could get from her. This realization broke Maya for a while. She cried a lot. She slept poorly. Her hair began to fall out, and she lost a lot of weight. But still, the eye-opening realizations kept piling up. Maya remembered how she had gained so much weight with the birth of her first child and had not been able to lose it because she'd been so busy with her business. But then, after the birth of her second daughter, with her business having been established for several years at that point and running more smoothly, she'd had time to work out and eat well, and she had lost the weight. It had taken her so many years between the births of her two children, but when she'd finally lost the weight, she looked and felt so good. She had finally been able to dress up and wear cute clothes and even wear her high heels again. But when she had seen her mom for the first time after having lost all that weight and finally being at a healthy BMI, her mom had told her she looked sick. Maya, also not having seen her mom for a while, had noticed that her mom was about 40 to 50 pounds overweight and that her hands and face were swollen. And she realized that her mom should have probably been trying to lose weight too, instead of telling her she looked sick because she did. But she didn't say a word. She had just assured her mom that she was healthy and well, in fact, healthier than she'd been in a long time, and was finally no longer pre-diabetic. But now she was realizing that this was yet another way her mom had sought to bring her down, another way her mom had sought to steal the light from behind her eyes, to diminish her success. Maya remembered another time when she had called her mom to tell her mom she had surpassed a significant business goal. And later that day, her mom had sent her a picture of the only report card she'd ever had bad grades on. Funny enough, that had been the report card she'd gotten the same year her mom's boyfriend had thrown her across the hood of the car and she had moved in with her dad. Prior to that, and even after that time, Maya had always been a straight A student. But that was such a tumultuous time, and not surprisingly, Maya's grades had suffered. But she had pulled it together after that difficult and earth-shifting year, the year marked with her parents battling in court, and her whole world being turned upside down. And she had not only gone back to being an A student, she had managed to graduate as valedictorian of her school. But her mom had not mentioned that. She had not sent any photos of all the many, many report cards she'd had with all A's. But she had sent her the one, the only one, when she didn't have all A's. When Maya's oldest daughter had been learning about different types of bachelor's degrees in school and had come to Maya with excitement about what she was learning, Maya had excitedly and proudly told her daughter that she had been the first in their family to finish college, and that she had done so on time despite taking a year off to help care for her mom after her mom's car accident. That evening, when Maya was talking to her mom on the phone and recounting the conversation she'd had with her daughter, Maya told her mom that she had not realized or really thought about the fact that she had been the first to finish college, and she was met with silence. Her mom didn't say one word in recognition of that accomplishment. But, as Maya was remembering, she had sent her that one bad report card the same day that Maya had met and shared that she'd met that big business goal. There had been other things, too, that Maya was now remembering. When that door opened, when that Pandora box opened, it flooded Maya with memories she had forgotten about, memories she had buried deep. Maya remembered when, shortly after they had bought one of their houses, Maya had learned that a new water park was being built not too far away. Maya had been excited that her children would get to go there when they were older, and she was also excited that that water park would likely raise her property values as well. She shared the news with her mom. Within that same week, Maya's mom had been calling her to tell her that a new wave rider was being built in her city. Again, at the time, Maya had not thought that her mom was trying to compete with her. She had not realized that everything that had been good for her, her mom had soon tried to manufacture or conjure up as well. She had not realized that everything that happened good for her, her mom soon tried to manufacture or conjure up as well. Or, if she couldn't conjure up an equal or similar accomplishment, then she would simply diminish or criticize Maya's accomplishment. But now Maya was seeing, and she couldn't unsee. Maya was now remembering every time that it happened, and she couldn't stop remembering. With a broken heart and a broken soul, and even with all she now knew and couldn't unsee about her mom's behavior, and the way her mom had always been with her, and now with the way her mom was training her sister to be with her, Maya still tried to maintain a relationship with her mom. She still took her calls, even though she never knew what to say, or how much she could share, or what was safe to share. She still called to check on her mom, even though her mom never called to check on her, not even on holidays. When her mom did call, it was usually to see what she was up to, so she could gauge what she should compete about. But the final straw happened on Maya's youngest daughter's birthday. As Maya began to grow knowledgeable and aware of her mom's behavior, she began to withdraw. She would take some calls, but not all. She would reach out sometimes, but not often. Her mom would ask her probing questions, trying to gauge and see what was going on with her. But she had finally gotten wise and would not divulge. So her mom began losing access to her life. Sure, her mom still tried to hurt her and downplay her and diminish her and criticize her, while simultaneously trying to compete with the very things she was downsizing, criticizing, and complaining about. Sure, she still did those things, but she was losing access, so she was losing information on what to compete with. Her mom did not like this, but since her mom was losing her ability to hurt her, She then turned to trying to hurt Maya in a different way. She turned to using her kids. Maya had grown accustomed to not hearing from her mom very often, which suited her just fine. She mostly heard from her mom just when her mom wanted something or wanted some ammo on Maya to know what was going on with her so she could know how best to knock it down or try to compete with it. But as I said, Maya had stopped divulging, so not hearing from her mom was just fine by her. Still, no matter what, she always knew that she would hear from her mom on her kids' birthdays. Her kids loved their grandma, despite the fact that they rarely saw her, and they loved to hear from her. She had long ago stopped calling them just to check on them, but she at least used to still call them on their birthday. But the year that Maya began to withdraw from her mom's lifelong psychological abuse, her mom didn't take too kindly to it. On Maya's youngest daughter's birthday, Maya's mom did not call her to talk to her. As I said before, she had never sent gifts. She had never bought anything for Maya's children, so Maya never expected that. But she would always faithfully call, so she did expect that. And she would always sing them happy birthday. But this year she did not. At around 11 p.m., many hours after Maya's youngest daughter had gone to bed, Maya's mom sent her a text message saying, "Tell Rima I said happy birthday." Yep, that's it. She did not call to tell her happy birthday. She did not sing happy birthday to her. She texted the mom of a small child and told the mom to tell the daughter that her grandmother said happy birthday. And that was it for Maya. That was the final straw. All the hurt and pain and betrayal that she had suffered through at the hands of her mom for years, she had been willing to accept and deal with. But she could not accept it on behalf of her child. Parents can attest to this. We might be able to take a lot of stuff, a lot of crap, but we will not allow that same stuff, that same crap for our kids. We can accept a lot of hurt and a lot of things affecting us, but we draw the line at it hurting and affecting our kids. Maya would not stand for her mom disappointing or psychologically abusing her child the way she had done her. Her mom had withheld love and acceptance and approval and respect and admiration from her all of her life, at least since she was a young girl. And now, with the absence of that birthday call, she could see her mom beginning to start in on her own children. And that's where she drew the line. That day, Maya walked away from her mom, and from her younger sister for that matter, who also didn't call, but used to. She has not spoken to either of them again since then, and has no plans to. Those feelings I brought up earlier, of hurt and devastation at the betrayal, and those questions I asked of why it happened and how to ever trust again, were all feelings Maya had, and questions she asked herself, and emotions she had to work through. But when she did, there was an immense happiness and joy on the other side. Having let go of the dead, critical, and envious weight that was her mom, and then eventually also became her little sister, she found herself able to breathe a little easier, able to step a little lighter, smile a little more, and generally feel more joy than she ever remembered feeling before. Yes, trust is an ongoing issue for her, and yes, she's a little harder and rougher around the edges than she used to be. But she's also more at peace than she used to be, and is healing and becoming an even better version of herself every day. More importantly, having let go of the dead, critical, and envious weight that was her mom and then eventually also became her little sister, she also opened up space in her life for positive people to come in. Yes, it took her a little while to fill them out. It took her a little while to begin to trust them. And if she's honest, she will say that she still struggles with total trust, having been betrayed and let down by her own mom, the person who's supposed to love you most and best of all. She truly doesn't know if she'll ever have that total trust again in another human. But again, she's healing every day. The scars are softening and the light is shining. Melody, and whomever else needed to hear this, what you're going through often isn't meant for you. It is meant for us to be a testimony for others. These things usually happen to the strongest of people because, as the Bible says, the strong must bear the infirmities of the weak. And because the strong are strong, they're able to go through soul-breaking experiences and not only survive, but successfully make it to the other side, where they're then able to use their soul-breaking experience to help someone else. Melody and whomever else needed to hear this. You won't be the first person to have your soul ripped out of your chest when you realize the person you're close to, that you love and trust, is your enemy. And unfortunately, you won't be the last. But perhaps your story, like Maya's story, can strengthen someone who needs it most and let them know there is light on the other side of the tunnel. All right, y'all. That's it, and that's all. Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. If you don't, or if you believe in groupthink or bullying others into believing the popular opinion, then this isn't the place for you. So go ahead and just cancel me now. On this channel, we don't discuss my truth or your truth. We discuss the truth, and no topic is off limits. So, log in, like, subscribe, get comfy, and comment. It's nice to have you here. So let's talk.